Economist Richard Wolff addressing the debt ceiling theatrics, and they are theatrics that are going on right now and seem to go on roughly every couple years, right? Where we just can't deal with this debt ceiling.
Over all these years, when we've had a sequence of debt ceilings, a rule that you can't borrow more, after the theater of the president and the head of Congress getting together, they extend the debt, they raise the debt again, the ceiling is eliminated or postponed or reset at a higher level. And so the debts keep going. It's 99% theatrics. Mr. McCarthy can say, I'm against taxes, which his base likes. And the Democrats can say, well, we don't want to savage the spending the country needs, which is what their base wants. They go back and forth. It gets dicey. We have late night press conferences, and then we raise the ceiling, which is literally kicking the problem down the road.
But Richard.
So it is theatrics. It's largely theatrics. Something else he didn't mention is that the debt ceiling is a completely made up. It's not that it's not an issue, but it's we put something, or Republicans really put something in the law saying, oh, you have to keep raising the debt ceiling. Well, why? Well, we made up the debt ceiling. It's not like there's some physical barrier. We just can't get. No, it was, as is the money, imaginary, but in an even a greater sense, the idea that, we can't go past this amount of debt is made up. And every time they come up against this imaginary number, every time they come up to it and they go, this imaginary number, we're about to hit it. What do they use it for? Well, the Republicans use it generally, and this is one of the things where there's kind of a difference between the two parties, but in fact, they're both, this whole show, the whole theatrics is facilitating the ruling elite. So not really there's a difference between the parties. However, I will mention the parties here because they do kind of say different things. And so here's what they ostensibly stand for. The Republicans go, if you want to raise the debt ceiling, well, we don't like spending, right? So you're going to have to cut all of the aid you give to people who are struggling, to people who are disabled, to people who are poor, to the children, to the schools. Cut aid just so that we're willing to raise this debt ceiling. That's generally what they want, right? Is just cut anything that could help the poor or the struggling. And the Democrats make a big show of how dare they, and then the Republicans make a big show about that, tax and spend liberal, But the whole show is done on a stage where it is called benefiting the ruling elite. And there's a big title over the top of it. But underneath that banner, you get to say, there are people who support the Democrats go, they just want to help the people. And the Republicans don't want to. And the people that support the Republicans go, they just want to tax, the Democrats just want to tax the people. And Republicans don't want to. And they get to have this whole show, and all of it benefits the ruling elite. As Richard Wolff talks about, the debt is borrowed money, right? All of it's borrowed money. It's borrowed from banks. It's borrowed from the rich. And then we have to pay it back. The country has to pay it back with an interest rate. And so, in fact, every dollar that's created in circulation, you owe $1.05 back to the bank, which, of course, is impossible. And so our debt is now, what did he say, $32 trillion? I mean, it doesn't make any fucking logical sense. It doesn't. If you make $40,000 a year after taxes, in order to make $1 trillion, you'd have to work for 25 million years. It is an unimaginable amount of money. And yet the reason the US dollar has any power when you print that much money, when you pump out that insane amount of money, is because it is backed by the global reserve currency and the petrodollar, which work hand in hand. And those are the two reasons. And that is, in any other country, you can't have $32 trillion of debt and keep going about it. And you notice one other point. You notice when the Republicans say, well, we want cuts. If you're going to raise the debt ceiling, we want cuts. The cuts always have to come from things that help people, right? Never comes from the military. Isn't that funny? And the Democrats also seem to always raise the amount of money sent to the military. Isn't that interesting? that they would agree on that they would be on the same side on that, because the two parties are bullshit. They are in alliance on so many of these things, and the theatrics, the show of the debt ceiling and of so many other things is useful to their continued extraction of the American people, of the American working class, and extraction of the world in general. So these theatrics all benefit that. And you won't hear essentially any of that from your mainstream media, even though they'll have debate after debate after debate about the debt ceiling.